Welcome to Turnpike Sports. I'm Dave Weischadle, and as always, I'm joined by my producer and co-host, Doug Weischadle. Doug, busy week in sports, a lot of moves by NBA teams, and a lot of moves pre-draft by NFL teams. So it looks like your Jets are going to probably pick their quarterback.
It appears that way.
It appears that way.
Again, everyone who's been following what the Jets have been doing have said that if anything's going to happen with Darnold trade-wise, it was going to be a draft day trade. I'm holding out hope that they keep Darnold and get that offensive lineman, Pennell. Again, it's kind of interesting to see some of the moves here. A lot of stuff was happening pre-draft again with all these different teams. Yeah, the Niners trading with the Dolphins.
Big move. Yeah, Niners have a big move.
I'm more impressed with the other side of that trade with the Dolphins. The Dolphins have just stacked up all these draft picks. They went from 3 down to 12. Now they're back up to 6. They may still continue to move again.
When you talk about draft capital, you're talking Miami Dolphins.
I mean, when I was watching what was happening with the Dolphins doing all that trading, all I could think of was that movie Draft Day with Kevin Costner, where he was just going crazy with all these picks left and right and drafting this and drafting that, jumping up and down. It was kind of interesting to see how the Dolphins were working that, and they are set up for the next couple of years draft-wise.
So it looks like both you and Chris Altruda are holding out hope for that big offensive lineman. Two big Jet fans, and Chris Altruda, I'll be talking with him later on today from Sports Handle, US Bets, and Better Collective. He's going to tell us what's going on in the gambling world. But another Jets fan, and I guess both of you are still holding out hope for a offensive lineman.
After so many different front office personnel have gone in and out of the Jets, they've never built that offensive line properly. And I think Pennell match him with Becton that they have right now. I think it's going to be a really good offensive line. But again, we'll just see what they do. I think everyone's anticipating them to take Zach Wilson. I don't think he's that much of an upgrade over Darnold, to be honest with you. I think Darnold just got ruined by Gase.
Well, like I said, I'm going to be talking with Chris Altruda later on the show from Sports Handle, US Bets, and Better Collective. We're going to be talking about what's going on in the gambling world. We're also going to have a By the Numbers segment where Doug throws out a number, and I usually get it wrong. And we're also going to have a Turnpike Sports book report where we talk about what's going on in the sports books across the country. Today's trip down the Turnpike is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Exit 1.
Okay, this week's Exit 1, we usually use it for sports betting. I'm going to use it for esports betting this time.
Yeah, big moves for esports and betting
on both
community.
Coasts. On both coasts. New Jersey and Nevada both have some movement in the esports industry, a lot of it affecting the betting of it, of the esports tournaments on both coasts. Let's start with New Jersey. The New Jersey Senate Committee, and let me get the name of this committee right because it's a long one. The New Jersey State Government Wagering, Tourism, and Historic Preservation Committee.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. They we had on Assemblyman Caputo a while back.
I remember that.
His esports bill.
Was that like almost a year ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a while.
It was a while ago.
It was before pandemic time.
It was, really? Okay. I did not know that.
And the bill focused on the esports wagering. It also had some other components in it. But recently, this committee, the State Government Wagering, Tourism, and Historic Preservation Committee, passed a bill, and it's going to go to the Senate now for voting. And if it continues up, it'll go to the governor. But they have clarified some things regarding esports wagering for the state of New Jersey, especially esports competitions under certain conditions, which was kind of interesting phrasing for this. The current law prohibits wagering on high school sporting events that deal with esports. Didn't clarify ages, didn't clarify anything in terms of how it actually would be structured, what's excluded. This bill expands on the prohibited sports events to include electronic sports competitions sponsored by or affiliated with high schools or competition with the majority of competitors are under the age of 18.
Which is good because, everyone's a little hesitant about throwing down money on high schoolers or teenagers. I think that's a good limitation to have in esports.
Well, again, it's a matter of outlining exactly what can be done with this. The age limit is now 18.
Good.
The other part of the bill that was passed by this committee, which I thought was really interesting, had to deal with some of the other competitive events that had to be approved individually by the Division of Gaming Enforcement for people to bet on. The bill has a part of it which puts competitions like the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest, or Extreme Eating, I should say.
Extreme eating.
Eating. Extreme eating contests as well as awards contests. It will move them onto the list of approved events for sports betting. Right now, what would happen, we've already had the Academy Awards bet on.
Yeah.
And also the hot dog, too.
Yeah, I bet on the hot dog eating contest.
Well, right now...
So that's an individual thing. They had to get specific permission for that thing.
Well, again,
under this bill, all of it would...
It's a streamlining.
Yeah, okay.
So that's what they want to do. And also, there are a couple little ticks in this that actually would discourage cheating, basically, in terms of betting on these things. Can't wager more than $100 under this new bill,
okay,
and you can't win more than $500.
Oh, all right.
So really, it's just novelty, basically. That's what's relegated to under this new bill. So New Jersey has done some things. Nevada, on the other side of the coast, introduced Senate Bill 165, which establishes the Nevada Esports Commission.
So they're going to have a separate commission, huh?
They're going to have a separate commission. It's going to be under the Department of Business and Industry. 3 members appointed by the governor, launching, if this bill passes, January 1st, 2022. And really it's going to set up how people can run esports tournaments in Nevada, especially if they have a prize pool over $1,000. So we'll see exactly where everything goes with these bills. Jersey's is more focused on the betting aspect, I think, more so than Nevada's. But part of this committee and this commission that Nevada's launching is going to probably have some sports betting components to it.
Sure.
Exit 2.
When it comes to watching esports tournaments, one of the important things is the really animated esports broadcasters. They really get into it and they start doing the action like it's, almost extreme action going on where they're calling
it's actually real life.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
I wasn't going to say it that way, but
So.
I was trying to find the phrasing for that.
Were we all esports this week? Boy, look at this.
Well,
it's great. Hey, it's fine with me. I like esports.
The reason I have this is sort of a tech issue too, which
Okay.
is really cool. Allied Esports, which has been in the news regarding their World Poker Tour sale.
Yes, they're the owners of the World Poker Tour.
Well, what they are going to be doing, they are taking their esports broadcasters for all their esports events that they are working with, and they are going to animate them. So they're really going to be animated. They're not just going to be excited.
Okay.
They're going to be animated avatars.
What kind of animation are these? Kind of
motion capture.
What does that mean?
Think Golem.
Oh, okay, I see what you're talking about.
They're going to be wearing the weird suits, and they're going to have
the weird suits for filming wise, so
right.
they can be animated in a different setting.
They're going to be 3D animated avatars.
All right.
And they're going to be made by XSENS. XSENS. That's the group that actually does a lot of the movie work for the motion capture stuff.
Okay.
What Allied Esports
So it's going to be really good. This is going to be high quality.
It's going to be very high quality, but it's really going to be interesting to see how Allied Esports uses this because, again, this could be used for a lot of brand integration, sponsorships. You could actually have the outfits change almost constantly.
Now, will they put them actually into the game, the announcers almost into the game? You can almost do that, right?
They will be putting the animated announcers as part of their broadcasts.
Okay, so far that's what they're saying. I wonder how far they'll go. I mean, if you're going to see an announcer walking around inside the game kind of
you
thing.
You probably will.
that
But
should be
again, we'll see
interesting.
exactly how this develops. It's going to be debuting with the 3-day, $5,900 winner-take-all Counter-Strike Global Offensive Legends Series. That's going to be broadcast from the Allied Esports Studios in Hamburg, Jersey, from April 10th
Hamburg,
to
Germany.
Hamburg,
Jersey.
Wow.
Hamburg, Jersey.
We were just talking about Jersey. Maybe I got Jersey on the head here. But Allied Esports AE Studios in Hamburg, Germany, from April 10th to April 12th, and it's going to be live streamed on the Allied Esports North American and European Twitch channels.
So just go to Twitch and you can watch it, right?
If you have if you know where to follow these things on twitch.tv, you can actually follow along. One other interesting aspect of this tournament, the data will be distributed to sportsbooks.
Oh, okay.
From the tournament. So you're going to be able to do some real-time betting on this wherever you're allowed to wager on esports.
Exit 3.
With March Madness going on, I thought we'd take a look at some NCAA trademark issues that also are going on here.
Yeah, I guess trademarks popped up.
Trademarks popped up in a couple different ways. The NCAA is dealing with that disparity between men and women's tournaments here, and the big thing that they have been dealing with is how to handle that disparity. We'll get to that in 1 second. I want to get to the funny one first.
Okay, the funny one? Okay.
The NCAA has filed a cancellation proceeding against Virginia Urology to try and cancel their trademark, Vasectomy Mayhem.
That's not even close to the NCAA trademarks, is it?
March Mayhem.
So you can't use the word mayhem in any other trademark anymore?
But Virginia Urology was create a website for Vasectomy Mayhem.
Which is a big time when guys get vasectomies because you just sit around all day and
you
recover.
It.
Yeah, okay.
They have a Vasectomy Mayhem website where it's all basketball themed.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, I can see their point now.
They have a
all
doctor holding a basketball. I don't know if that's in relation to the testes angle, but it's one of those things. But again, they have all basketball branded websites, messages, and the NCAA has filed a cancellation proceeding. This is after the Virginia Urology people have gotten their trademark. They got it in September of 2020, and NCAA filed it pretty quickly in February. And a cancellation proceeding is once a trademark has issued, even though it's a valid registration, a challenging company that feels their rights are infringed by their trademark can file a cancellation proceeding, and it's basically a mini trial in front of the Trademark Trial and Appeal Board. So they have filed this petition for cancellation in the trademark office, saying that the use of this mark, Vasectomy Mayhem, would result in confusion, mistake, or deception with the petitioner, which is the NCAA in this case.
No one's going to confuse it.
No, but
no one's confusing
again,
it.
you know what? It's a valid maneuver.
So,
but
I'm wondering if they just use Vasectomy Mayhem and didn't have their website loaded with basketball imagery.
I think they would have been smart to avoid all basketball imagery right now. So,
that then you don't get the joke, or you don't get the the whole shtick with the Vasectomy Mayhem thing.
Well, we'll see what happens with that. It's still pending right now. They are in the answer stage for Virginia Urology. So we'll see exactly what happens. As for the actual tournament itself, the NCAA has been really being attacked by the disparity it treats the men's and women's tournaments. And
it's ridiculous to see that on social media and the differences how they're being treated. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely, the NCAA has a lot of explaining to do, I think.
Well, again, a recent report came out that the NCAA in 2019 spent $13 million more on the men's tournament than they did the women's tournament. The food is different this year. The weight room is completely different.
Absolutely crazy.
And the use of the trademarks is different. The men's tournament has March Madness all over the place. Everything is referenced as March Madness for the men's tournament. The women's tournament, while the trademark for March Madness filed by the NCAA covers both tournaments, the women's tournament, there's no way, shape, or form March Madness appears anywhere on the court.
I was watching some of the women's basketball game. Yeah, I didn't see any March Madness logos anywhere.
There's nothing.
It's really bizarre.
Which is interesting because the women themselves refer to the tournament as March Madness, the women's teams.
Yeah.
It
is, and that's what it is. I mean,
we got a quote here from our cousin Chris Daly, who is the coach of
the acting
head coach of UConn, who's in the tournament, and
She didn't give us the quote. She gave
She gave a couple newspapers the quote. I didn't realize that was an NCAA thing, but I certainly think that's something that needs to be discussed and changed.
Absolutely.
Again, it's an ongoing thing with the NCAA between the men's and women's tournaments. It's kind of embarrassing, to be honest with you, the way this is. There's such a disparity here.
Exit 4.
Okay, we're going to talk casino sponsorship. We've got stories coming down, or rumors, or even reports coming down that the New Orleans Superdome is going to be renamed the Caesars Entertainment Superdome, and nothing's verified on that.
That's still in the works, right?
That is still in the works. We may see the Saints playing in the Caesars Superdome. At some point, it'll be the first time that's ever happened where a sports betting and a casino sponsor are sponsoring an NFL stadium, have the naming rights to it. I know we got Miami down in Florida with
Hard Rock,
but that's for the restaurant more so than the casino.
That's how they're.
That's how they got around it.
That's how they're doing it.
Yeah, so
I didn't know. I just assumed that was for the casino.
According to Hard Rock, it's for the restaurant chain.
Okay, all right.
So that really is not a casino sponsorship.
Yeah, wink, wink.
Yeah. And as soon as we get some more definite news, and by the time this airs, we may have a report.
Sure. This could happen tomorrow.
But Caesars may be the name, the title sponsor for the New Orleans Superdome. We've got a casino in Seattle, though, that has pulled the trigger on a sponsorship deal with the Major League Soccer team Seattle Sounders, and this is the Emerald Queen Casino.
Now, I know a lot of sponsors, especially for soccer, have the sponsorship logos on the jerseys. Is that what we're going to look for? The Emerald Queen Casino on the jerseys?
Well, if you look at the center of the jersey, you won't see it. It's a sleeve sponsorship.
It's a sleeve. It is on the jersey, though.
It will be on the jersey.
Right.
It will be on both jerseys. They've
home and away, I guess. Is that what you're talking about? Or?
They have primary and secondary jerseys. There's no home and away in Major League Soccer. And also,
I did not know that. I just see there's home and away.
It's also not really a sleeve. They're sponsoring the kit. That's what soccer uniforms are referred to.
Oh, I did not know that either.
Yes, it's a kit.
The kit, K-I-T?
K-I-T.
Is that what? Okay,
yes.
A kit. Okay.
Because it's everything.
So they're on the sleeve. If that's
They'll
what you're
be
saying.
on the right sleeves of both the primary and secondary jerseys. The casino has also been designated the Sounders' official casino entertainment partner. It's going to run through 2027. Terms were not disclosed. The team will have increased exposure through integration with the club on match days in the casino. Television broadcasts, you're going to see the casino prominently mentioned on some of the signage around there. And like I said, it's going to be on the sleeves. They have unveiled the primary sleeve. They have not unveiled the secondary kit yet. So we'll see exactly what that looks like. And they also have a community-based component as well, where they're going to be doing a lot of projects ranging from sustainability to defending people's right to play, men's, women, children, all that stuff. And it's similar to the deal that Atlanta United did with AT&T for the 2021 season. It's not a casino with AT&T, but it's the same type of deal, where it's social as well as entertainment value as well.
And today's trip down the Turnpike was brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
And as always, you can get in touch with Turnpike Sports by calling or texting us at 609-512-5910. That's 609-512-5910. At Turnpike Sports is the show's handle on Facebook and Twitter. At Turnpike Sports Radio is our handle on Instagram. And as always, our email address is info@turnpikesportsradio.com. And don't forget, you can listen to the show via Spotify, Amazon Music, iTunes, radio.com mobile app, as well as Stitcher and YouTube. You can also watch us on your smart TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV. Head on over to turnpikesports.net. You'll be able to watch our video channel there.
Well, stick around because later on we're going to have a By the Number segment and also a Turnpike Sports book report where we talk about what's going on in the sports books across the country. But coming up after this, I'm talking with Chris Altruda from usbets.com, Better Collective, and Sports Handle. We're going to talk about what's going on in the gambling world. So stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Yeah, you, come here. Haven't you heard? We don't need to hide anymore. Now, we can shop privately for adult products at adamandeve.com. They've got massage oils, lingerie, and lots more we can't mention here. Use offer code SPICE404. They'll give you 50% off almost any one item, 3 free DVDs, free mystery gift, and free shipping. That's 50% off, free shipping, and more. Private shopping starts at adamandeve.com.
Today's trip down the Turnpike is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
I'm self-employed and didn't report all my income. They claim I owe a lot more than I do.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
Tax Solutions Now saved my business.
I qualified for the Fresh Start program. I paid less than I owed.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions now.
Call 800-297-9788. 800-297-9788.
Welcome back to Turnpike Sports. If you're a sports bettor, you love this time of year. You got the NBA, the NHL, and of course NCAA basketball. And from those handle numbers from across the country, sports bettors are throwing down some big-time cash. And to help us break down what's going on in the gambling world, we always call on our returning guest from Sports Handle, usbets.com, and Better Collective, Chris Altruda, who is on the line with us right now. Chris, thanks for coming on.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for having me. Pleasure as always.
I got to tell you, Chris, I want to start off with the big story, the NCAA tournament. I mean, your home base is in Illinois. I'm in New Jersey, and we're sort of in the same situation. We can bet on the teams playing in the tournament as long as the college or university isn't located within our state. And I'm still shocked we have this rule in place. I know a lot of people listening around the country are wondering why we still have a rule like this. What explanation has been given to you as the reason for this rule?
There are a few. I mean, it varies from state to state. The biggest one, I think, was at first one of those givebacks to not raising a stink about legalizing sports betting. I think that's some of it. And the NCAA has pivoted away from being outright against sports betting. They kind of saw the handwriting on the wall as it was being legalized on a state-by-state basis, and they kind of changed their battle tactics to reflect, well, if we can't keep it illegal, we can possibly lobby at the state level to at least ban it involving schools that are in each state. And I think that was what they were able to do with regards to New Jersey and Illinois, although both states now have legislation of some sort in the pipeline to end this carve-out. I know Illinois does. Representative Mike Zaleski refiled a bill early in this General Assembly session here, and he was hoping that by college football season that exemption would be removed and everyone would be able to be bet on college football and then just have it kick over to the next college basketball season.
I have to tell you, what added insult to injury here in New Jersey was that we had the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, and not only was it being held in New Jersey, it was being held in Atlantic City, surrounded by 9 casinos, all who have sports books. And as a rule in New Jersey, we can't bet on any collegiate game inside the state. So you had all this great stuff going in Atlantic City right next to the sports books, and no one can bet on it. And I'm just wondering, how much money New Jersey lost out on. Do you think situations like that will be the tipping point for a lot of these states that say, well, maybe we should finesse this rule a little bit?
I don't think it's in the grand scheme of things, I don't think it's as large amount as we want to believe it is.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that comes up when asking operators about this is the fact that during the college basketball season, there's enough of an inventory of games where they're not going to say these 1 or 2 games on like a Wednesday or a Saturday are going to matter. Obviously, with a conference tournament, it's a little more densely packed, so there may be a noticeable mark on the schedule because you have a finite amount of games, and all of a sudden you have a percentage of that finite amount not available to you. So it may be more noticeable for a few days per year, but it also doesn't seem to register that much over the course of the season. It's, oh yeah, that's right, we can't bet on them because that's what the state law says.
You know, you mentioned state officials, and I know you talk to a lot of state officials around the country. I mean, I spoke to a couple, I like in Iowa and Mississippi, and they allow betting on their college teams, but they have a rule that you can't bet on the individual players. I mean, for example, you can place a bet on Mississippi State in Mississippi. However, you can't place a bet on the Mississippi State quarterback to throw over 200 yards. Do you think that's kind of something in the future that New Jersey and Illinois could look at doing, or do you think something like that could be done throughout the country?
I think that's the last bastion that is probably going to be a no-go unless it is adopted completely in this country. I think the NCAA would raise a very large issue betting on individual athletes. I think that, again, they realized that they couldn't stop sports wagering in general. This is the ring fence they're trying to make involving banning at the state level involving state schools, I think is their last stand in terms of what they'll lose. But I think if you were going to push them about individual athletes, I think they would push back a lot harder than people think. And to be fair to them, I think that's a valid pushback. I'm not very comfortable wagering money on 17 to 22 year olds.
Yeah, I know.
In a college setting, it's the most pivotal point of their lives, and adding another layer of pressure on top of them from a general public who wouldn't know these kids if they fell over them, and then asking them, oh, by the way, yes, I put $25 on you plus right. 200 to throw for 280 yards at a couple of touchdowns.
No pressure there.
No pressure at all. I mean, on top of the 80,000 fans who were screaming your name at the stadium that day. So I think the prop bets for players in college is a bridge too far.
Now, I mentioned you're in Illinois, and I am fascinated by the Illinois sports betting market. It's doing amazing things. I mean, how have the Illinois sports betting numbers been over the last couple of months?
They have set handle records every month. The latest one that came in for January, and let me explain this as a precursor, because everyone will what happened in February. There are rules in place in the sports wagering rule book in which the operators do not have to provide their numbers to the gaming board until the end of the following month. So on January 31st, January ends, but they do not have to submit those January numbers to the board until February 28th. And then the board reviews them. So you have this normal 45-day lag from the end of the month from when that month is reported. So we got the January numbers during the March 10th meeting. and they set a monthly handle record at 580 million, which was a little surprisingly high considering that the retail part of it, because they were at limited capacity, was only about, I want to say 7 to 8 million. So almost about 96, 97% of the handle came online. And that was after they did 490 million in December exclusively online. And the other thing about Illinois was that this has been going on with just 5 mobile operators. Barstool entered last week as the 6th, but they were also the first ones to enter in the mobile space since September. So Illinois, I believe, is performing above expectations based on the first year and also dealing with a pandemic.
You know, I wanted to ask about Barstool. When did they go live, and what has been the reaction so far with their presence in the state?
It's hard to tell. I think one of the smart things they did was the Hollywood casinos rebranded all of their retail books to Barstool. So while you have just the Barstool Sports app, you also have Barstool Sports books in Aurora, Joliet, and Alton, which is in the St. Louis metropolitan area. While there's no direct Chicago presence, I know Dave Portnoy was out here for about a week, indirectly hyping it while operating out of some base camp hotel in Chicago, while not exactly being at the Aurora or Joliet locations. So in some respects, it was a soft launch for the mobile book along with the retail book. I don't know how they're going to be received. Obviously, you'll have a long lag time that it might filter out of mind a little bit. I think there's a place for them to be 4th in the initial report because the big 3 here are DraftKings, FanDuel, and BetRivers. Mm-hmm. And then it's PointsBet and William Hill. And William Hill has yet to embrace in-play wagering here. So Barstool, in theory, should get a bump past William Hill based on the popularity and use of in-play wagering. Whether it can overtake PointsBet early is going to be a challenge. PointsBet has done a very good job in this state. They did approximately 40 million in handle in January, which is, it sounds mean to say it's like the scraps, but at the same time, there's a lot of scraps here because there's only 5 mobile operators right now, and Barstool made 6. So I'm curious to see if Barstool will fight hard with PointsBet for 4th. I think there's right now too big of a gap to BetRivers because BetRivers, despite being 3rd, is still doing more than 100 million in handle a month. And I think that's going to be a challenge to reach for Barstool in the opening month. But there's definitely room for them in this state. And as the year goes forward and a few more enter, BetMGM at some point is going to enter this year. And depending on how fast the state moves on Jumer's Casino in Rock Island, because that's now going to be a Bally's casino, and Bally's did their entire rebrand, you have to imagine at some point Bally's will enter this market in a mobile presence as well, but we don't know when exactly that's going to be yet.
You know, that was my next question about the expectation for Barstool. I know in the 2 states they were previously in, they're doing very well, and that's Pennsylvania and Michigan. I know in Pennsylvania they're coming in like 3rd place behind FanDuel and DraftKings. I think even one month they had a 20% hold, and I'm not quite sure how that happened. I guess everyone's betting parlays in that state. But so it sounds like they're right in the mix in Illinois.
Right, and I think the raw number of handle seems to be consistent in placing them 3rd. They jumped a little bit in Michigan. Those numbers came out for February yesterday, and I believe it was 40 million, which put them a distant 4th. But at the same time, that's still good. And with Michigan, it was the fact that they were all at the same starting line. They launched 10 operators simultaneously. So in some respects, it looked like a battle royale, but at the same time, it was the most fair method of doing it. Barstool entering here had a bigger challenge because all 5 books were very well established, and they offered different things. For whatever reason, William Hill, and despite its lack of offering in play, still gets a decent amount of per wager. Barstool's not going to get what William Hill gets, but Barstool's going to have that in play, and they're going to compete. One issue against Barstool, however, is that because it's part of Penn National Gaming, it's part of that Candy platform. So you have now three of the it's DraftKings, BetRivers, Barstool, and then you have three of the six who operate under the same Canby platform. So that's a challenge for them as well, because people who are going to line shop are going to look for differentiation when they're wagering.
You know, one of the amazing things of the overall sports betting industry is the incredible national numbers that are coming out. Give us a sense nationally how the sports betting industry is doing.
It's doing well. I mean, it's kind of funny. We joked about it when the country was moving back to full strength in August and things were reopening. And in August, it was $2 billion in monthly handle. And we all got excited. Everyone's like, well, there's room for growth and this and that and the other. And it kept going. And it got to a point where we were looking at January numbers and knowing Illinois was going to be the last, but we still also noticed that Illinois was just going to be the sugar on top of whatever the cake was in terms of the number. Delaware was the second to last state to report numbers for January. And when they had their $15 million, that set a monthly record even before Illinois was reported. So the handle has gone from $2.2 billion in August to $2.86 billion in September to $3.26 billion in October to $3.46 billion in November to $3.77 billion in December, and then to $4.36 billion in January. So
unbelievable.
I mean, and part of that can be attributed to more states legalizing. And also another key part of it is there are large states legalizing. Mm-hmm. Michigan came online in January. Virginia launched. Tennessee launched. These are all states with significant populations. And also in the case of Tennessee and Virginia, they're opting to go digital. And if you have remote registration, you're instantly throwing access to people who want to wager. And those people will find a way to wager. And now that you're doing it legally, you've set the market even higher. And you can now chase these bigger numbers.
That's what I was going to ask. I mean, what were some of the reasons for these massive numbers? Certainly a lot of states are coming on board with sports betting, but is it the media influencing a lot of people? I mean, that you're seeing sports betting, a lot of the sports broadcasts. I just interviewed the VP of gaming for the PGA Tour, and I never thought I'd interview a vice president in charge of gaming at a professional sports league. I mean, is that some of the reason why this is exploding? Certainly the sports teams are getting involved, and I know media is really embracing it.
There's multiple combinations of reasons. One is that media is no longer, it's no longer taboo to talk about point spreads on air. That's one of the basic ones. One of the other ones is that DraftKings and FanDuel essentially have money cannons in their advertising departments when it comes to airtime. Living in the Chicago market, I can tell you that if I go an hour without seeing a DraftKings ad, it will be the first time in about 4 months I will have gone an hour without seeing a DraftKings ad with my television on. And that goes beyond them. Even when you go to Barstool does not have a television airwave presence, but Dave Portnoy, to his credit, is a social media genius. When he tells people to jump, the stoolies say how high, and they will go where directed. So that's also some of it too. I think the NFL is a very large driver of handle, and also, you joked about it earlier with everyone in Pennsylvania betting on parlays. That's not restricted to Pennsylvania. That is a national phenomenon. And one of the things we joked about was, we've always wanted to see what it was like. So in January, just for fun, there are 8 states that report parlay handle. Mm-hmm. And those 8 states combine to post almost $500 million in parlay handle, just parlay handle, which is, about 1/8 of the overall handle. 7 of those states post revenue. Delaware is kind of a hybrid because they sell only parlay at their retail lottery. So we don't know what their parlay numbers at the 3 tracks are. But when you factor in these 6.5 states, the operators made $77 million in revenue. and the win rate, the money that, what the house keeps off the wagers was almost 19%. So essentially 1 out of every $5 wagered on a parlay went back to the house. They're going to continue promoting that.
I was going to ask about that because you wrote a great article about the record handle, and one of the parts in the article was about parlays. And I know gamblers have a saying that parlays don't build bankrolls, they build sports books. I mean, and I'm sure you're getting emails about like parlay insurance. I'm getting parlay boosts here in New Jersey, and it's constant emails. And it's just, how critical is that for a sports book? You just never think of it, parlays being that important to a sports book bottom line. But how important are they to sports books?
It varies from sports book to sports book. I think one of the things is that FanDuel, by using a same game parlay, I think FanDuel has created itself a more consistent revenue stream in that area, because people are going to be more than willing to put down $1 or put down $5. Like, they're always small bets, but it's half the fun of a parlay is creating something that's so obtuse and unrealistic that if it happens, it's a bonus. I jokingly called it a couple of months ago when I wrote about one of the other handle stories. I said, it's like that Daffy Duck and Porky Pig cartoon where Porky Pig signs the insurance thing, and then Daffy Duck reads the rider and it says a stampede of wild elephants and one baby zebra. Everyone who runs the $1 parlay is chasing the baby zebra to make like an 11-leg parlay hit.
They are the best social media posts because they certainly attract a lot. Hey, this was my parlay for $1. I won $4,000. It just, and that kind of perpetuates it. It looks like
it does. It does to a degree. And the other half of the equation is, obviously experienced bettors will realize that. Well, yeah, you won $4,000, but how many times did you do it before you won the $4,000? What was your net after with this win, kind of thing. But I mean, it attracts the casual bettor because it's, in some ways, that parlay is akin to a lottery ticket, and it's accessible that way mentally to the casual bettor, where it's $1. I'm not gonna lose sleep over a $1 bet, and the other thing is, as opposed to like a lottery ticket where you maybe do quick pick and have the machine spit the numbers out, this is something you're doing, and you have a little bit of ownership, even if it is that $1 or $5.
It seems like every month a state is breaking its own handle record. Has there been one state out there that has really surprised you with regard to how well it's doing with regard to sports betting?
I think Indiana continues to be the one that punches above its weight on a level that is unlike most. I think everyone realized that Illinois was going to be a top 5 market, and they have flexed their muscle to reflect that. I think Indiana being in that second tier right below, like ranking 5th at this point. I mean, I think it's going to change when I think Tennessee comes to fruition and Michigan begins to really pick itself up. But Indiana clearing $300 million in handle over the last 2 months. And they backslid a little bit because it was February, and everyone is backsliding in February. But they only backslid to $274 million, I believe. But it's a state that had its act together from the moment Governor Holcomb legalized it. The Indiana Gaming Commission, and this is the other thing, these state gaming commissions do not operate in a vacuum when it comes to sports betting. There are multiple other things going on. For example, here in Illinois, they're in the process of weeding out suitors for new casinos in 6 different locations. Indiana has, I believe, 11 casinos, and they just redid the whole El Dorado merger with Caesars, in which Caesars had to give up 3 properties to prevent a monopoly-like hold. But the Indiana Gaming Commission, I mean, to its credit, they are on point. They all work together. There's no sense of hierarchy with them. Every time there's something important in a meeting that goes on, everyone comes informed with an opinion, and everyone discusses. And the other thing is the people in charge of the actual sports betting portion of it are receptive. They quickly update things. They quickly update the operators on what's going on when they approve sports and they approve registrants. And it's just really, I mean, they are a good mid-state model for other states that are plotting a path to follow. I think Michigan will serve as a template for states that have tribal gaming based on what Representative Iden did to get all the tribal casinos on board with mobile gaming. But Indiana, in terms of just a setup of getting started and getting going, is also right up there among the best in the country.
Now, when we talk about one state that's been in the news recently with regard to sports betting, and that's Texas. Now, I'm confused about what Texas does for a whole lot of issues, but I certainly don't know what the future holds for them with regard to sports betting. I know there's a bunch of bills that's been submitted right now, but what's the situation in Texas when it comes to sports betting?
It's a challenge. I mean, it's a logistical challenge from a government point of view to get it on the ballot, because it has to be a joint resolution for a constitutional amendment. So you need 2/3 approval in both the Texas House and the Texas Senate. On a pure party line of Republican Democrat, there is the minimum 2/3 majority in the House with 100 Republicans and 50 Democrats. In the Senate, I believe they had to flip 3 votes to acquire the 2/3 majority. But one of the other things about Texas that was interesting was that there were technically 3 bills filed. One is reclassifying sports betting, so it's not really noticeable in the grand scheme of things. But the 2 bills that were filed that offered more details could not have been more different in their approach. And one was a digital-only bill that was somewhat limited in scope. It limited it to 5 operators. The tax rate was 6.75%, which would have tied Vegas for it actually would have been lower than Vegas. It would have been the lowest in the country. And it was just just in terms of scope, it was limited. And then about a month later, somebody came in with what I would affectionately call the Texas brand size bill, in which let's make pro teams the license holders, which everyone was just like, what? No.
I saw that, the professional teams one. I mean, does that even have a chance of passing or even being looked at seriously?
I think it does, because Virginia has it in place and the Washington football team has one of those licenses. Mm-hmm. And also DC United will eventually gain a license there as well. I think because of the volume of pro sports teams in Texas across a myriad of leagues will also help in that regard. You have WNBA teams, you have NWSL teams, you have MLS teams, and of course you have the NFL major league. You have the 4 major leagues. So I think there's plenty of negotiating room that you're making it available for everyone. Whether or not the timeline is the bigger issue, because I forget exactly how Texas legislature works, but I believe they meet every other year. So it has to come out in rapid fire fashion to be available to be put on the ballot this year.
I know there was a poll taken by the Dallas Morning News and the University of Texas, and it says that most people in Texas would like casino gambling and sports betting. I mean, was that the major hurdle, or are there some lobbyists or some other special interests that would probably stop something like a casino measure or a sports betting measure in the state of Texas?
I think Texas has to settle for one or the other. I'm not privy to all of that, but I believe that you're not going to go from 0 to 11 like Spinal Tap with sports betting in Texas. I think you're getting sports betting or a casino. You're not getting both. And I also think that I don't think there's an appetite for that much of an appetite for casino gaming. I think sports betting, because it's easier to set up, especially regardless of which method they choose, whether it's Representative Huberty or Representative Dutton, the remote aspect of it makes it an easier sell in terms of availability to the general public. And casino gaming's work. It's a lot of work, and I don't think the timeline allows itself to work. And there's enough money in sports betting where the casino, I mean, obviously, yes, casino gaming would bring in a ton of money. But I also think that either bill, based on, the negotiations for those bills that you're going to arrive at, I think, a different tax rate than what Representative Dutton had, which was the lowest one in the state, whereas Representative Huberty's was 10% and a little more in line, but still competitive, that there will be a flow of revenue. And something Representative Huberty told to me was that this, for him, is somewhat personal in the sense that because they completely overhauled how they fund education in the state. And they were able to expand things in terms of, special education for those with disabilities. And he is looking for ways to maintain that level of funding. So there is definitely, he has skin in this game, pardon the horrible pun.
Well, Chris, we're heading toward the end of March, and the next big betting event for a lot of people is the NFL draft. And I'm sitting here in a room with executive producer Doug, who's a big Jets fan, staring at me, and I know you're a big Jets fan, and I'm going to pick your brain. Now, who do you think the Jets will pick in the second pick of the draft?
I have held out hope that they will draft the bookend tackle from Oregon, Sewell, I believe his name is.
Okay, well, Doug's shaking his head yes.
I want two people who will blot out the sun on the line.
So you're thinking...
But at the same time, it also... I'm of the belief that Sam hasn't gotten a fair shake at quarterback. I mean, they tried with Le'Veon Bell. It was a disaster. Adam Gase was a disaster. Everyone who tried to be a number one receiver just did not live up to that. And they've addressed that to a degree with Corey Davis, and Denzel Mims looks like he has potential. But at the same time, you win and lose games at the line. So give me the athlete who can block the sun out.
Well, the other Jets fan in the room is nodding his head yes, so he's in total agreement with you. We're running out of time, but can you tell everyone where they can read your articles and follow you on social media?
Sure. The articles can be seen at usbets.com and sportshandle.com. We also have a few state-specific sites, including njonlinegambling.com and PennBets. There's also MI Bets, and for those in Indiana, there's Hoosier State Bets. And my Twitter handle is Altruda73. It's ALTRUDA and the number 73. So, if you have a question, feel free to ask. I'm usually pretty good about responding fast, and every so often you'll see those tweet storms about handles and states and whatnot and what's going on, and hopefully I keep you entertained and informed.
Chris Altruda from Sports Handle and Better Collective, thanks so much for coming on and keeping us updated in the gambling world. Always great to talk with you, so come back on real soon.
Absolutely. Again, pleasure having me on. Thanks again, Dave.
Stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports. We'll get back to the show in a few moments, but I just wanted to take some time and tell everyone about Bean Genius, the smart specialty coffee subscription service. Bean Genius sells freshly roasted coffee from some of the best independent coffee roasters in the country. They feature over 2,000 specialty coffee blends, all at your fingertips at beangenius.com. Here's how it works. Head on over to beangenius.com and take their palate profiler test to find out what coffee best fits your taste. Then select from a variety of subscription plans. Every subscription comes with free shipping, and delivery can even be scheduled for once or twice each month. And based upon your review of each coffee blend you try, Bean Genius actually learns your individual taste preferences and then suggests future coffee blends for you. And now you can get 10% off your Bean Genius subscription when you use our promo code PIKE at checkout. Bean Genius offers a variety of subscription plans to suit any coffee lover's needs. Subscribe with Bean Genius today and start enjoying some of the best tasting coffee around. And save 10% off your coffee plan with promo code PIKE. And By the Numbers is sponsored by Play Sugar House Online Casino and Sportsbook in New Jersey. Sign up at playsugarhouse.com/Pike and get a first deposit match of up to $250. Enjoy the casino experience online. Play Sugar House offers over 400 games online, slots, table games, hey, even bingo. It's like being in a casino without leaving your home.
Hey, welcome to another edition of the Turnpike Sports By the Numbers segment, where I throw out really odd numbers at you sometimes and have you try and guess exactly what we're talking about. And once we settle that, we let the numbers tell the story.
It seems like the lower the number, the more interesting the story, just from my point of view. It just seems like, if you throw out like a number 2, it's like, wow, that's weird. I wouldn't know how to place that.
Well, the lower numbers could mean anything, really, if you think
yeah.
about it. I mean, the bigger numbers, you kind of figure it's going to be ratings or money versus,
Sure.
whatever the other smaller numbers can be. And we're going to start off with 2 small numbers today.
Okay.
First one is 25.
25. Is it it's not a dollar sign, right?
No.
Okay. I have no idea.
It is a percentage.
A percentage. Oh, wait. I read a percentage. Someone acquired something. Was it the Fox thing?
Someone's always acquiring something, especially in this industry that we're working in.
Yes, it's a great time to be a gaming attorney. So, but is it the Fox?
Fox Sports has now acquired 25% of the New York Racing Association's gambling platform, Naira Bets.
Yep, Naira. I love Naira Bets.
It's actually kind of fun to play along with the horse racing when you're doing through the Naira Bets thing, because so many races are being offered.
I'm seeing a lot more races on TV too. I mean, certain channels like TVG. It's always fun to watch that. So,
well, funny you should say that, because
okay.
the deal that Fox Sports has, which includes the acquisition of 25% of Naira Bets, also includes a media rights extension package. So there's going to be more televised races.
So Fox Sports is going to be doing more horse racing? Is that what I'm hearing?
You're going to be seeing Fox Sports continuing to broadcast and expand some of their coverage through 2030.
Great.
Naira, New York Racing Association's sports racing events.
It's okay to call it. I call it constantly Naira Bets. I don't even know if that's the right way to say it, but I always say Naira Bets.
Well, when you're referring to Naira Bets, that's fine. You could say it that way.
Okay.
But New York Racing Association is what the actual league is called. You're going to see at least 700 hours of coverage each year of the next 8 years of the Belmont Park and Saratoga Racecourse.
Great.
They're going to be expanding coverage in those 2 race courses. Again, the bigger part of the deal was the acquisition of 25% of Naira Bets, and the deal also gives an option to Fox Sports to increase that percentage to 49.9% over the next several years.
Great.
One thing, a part of this, the reason for this deal is since Fox Sports has expanded the coverage of the Naira racing events, the handle for Naira Bets has expanded dramatically from the report. Wagers on the platform have grown from 7.2 million in 2016 to $225 million in 2020.
I got to tell you, man, there's nothing like a day at the track, I love that. What a great time.
There's nothing like being able to bet anywhere on Naira Bets.
Yeah.
On a day of the track here.
I usually, like I said, it's like a sports book. I usually use my phone to bet. Even if I'm at the track, I use my phone to bet.
Well, New York Racing Association has seen the benefits of partnering with the media outlets for their races, and expanding it with Fox Sports makes perfect sense. And right. I wonder if at some point you're going to see some kind of collaboration between Fox Bet and Naira Bets at some point.
Should be interesting.
Next number, 20.
20. Wow, we got the really low numbers.
I'll get back to my billions later.
All right, yeah, but, I have no idea. 20.
We just recently had a report from BetMGM Sportsbook that there was a 20-team parlay, a successful 20-team parlay done.
Okay, that's basically winning the lottery. That's like, buying a lottery ticket. I think the most I ever parlayed was like maybe 9, and that was stupid, and that was ridiculous. I've never even come close to it like that before. But 20 games.
Well, the
20 team, I should say.
It's
20
difficult enough to win a multi-game parlay in a single sport. This was a multi-sport multi-game parlay.
Wow, okay.
We have a breakdown of 2 tennis matches, 8 soccer matches, 5 NHL games, 5 NBA game picks. And a lot of these things were moneyline bets for the NHL and the NBA and the soccer. I wouldn't know how to bet some of these tennis things that the guy did. I can't even pronounce half these names. But it was one men, 1 women match for tennis.
Mm-hmm.
And again, 8 soccer teams. I don't know enough about soccer to even try a 3-game parlay for a soccer bet. But he bet $100 on a 20-team parlay, and he turned that into $123,756.
So wait, let me get this straight. This was a 20-team parlay. He spent $100, and he won over $123,000.
Let's put this in. It was a 20-team 4-sport parlay.
Okay,
$100 bet. So again, we normally don't talk about the prop bets too much. But it's kind of an interesting thing to see. That
one's a biggie. That one was
more so.
I don't know if that's impressive or just sheer luck.
But again, it's more so impressive for the variety of sports that were bet on, more so than the amount of money won. The amount of money, we've seen bigger parlays hit bigger amounts, but the fact that it was a multi-sport parlay, which was really incredible.
And and these weren't just all favorites. I mean, there's some underdogs in here. The underdog, money line. So that's pretty impressive.
The person knew what he was doing.
Yeah.
So, and that's all a matter of research too. Better education on betting.
You can research like you wouldn't believe, but you'll rarely hit a 20-game parlay.
I am giving the guy credit.
Wow.
For actually number one having the balls to do a 20-team parlay, multi-sport parlay. But wow, to be able to do that.
And he didn't throw $2 on it like it was a nothing thing. He put $100 on it.
Well, good
for him.
Given some of the other parlays that are reported, the $500,000 parlays that are out there, that's not a lot of money either nowadays.
Well, but for a 20 team, 20 game, I shouldn't say 20 team. Yeah, a 20 team parlay. Yeah.
I wonder what was the reason behind doing that. I mean, was the guy just bored and did it?
Hey,
or was the guy sitting in somewhere and just said, "Hey, I'm going to try this"?
He had $100 burning a hole in his pocket. Yeah. So
did he lose a bet to have to make this bet?
I don't know.
But
good for them. Whoever bet it.
It's interesting. It's just fun to see that kind of stuff. Okay, we're going to $6.75 billion.
It's got to be $6 billion. It's the worth of something. Either it's the worth of
very good.
I don't know what it's the worth of, but it's not that good. But it has to be the worth of something.
It's the value of the New York Yankees baseball club.
Wow. Okay.
$6.75 billion. That includes their 26% stake in Yes and their 20% share of Legends, that the sports management company.
Now that's got to be tops for any professional team, right? There's no other professional team.
The closest competitor, right? If you want to look at it as a competition, the closest competitor was also Legends. Legends also owns the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
Dallas Cowboys in all the world are the second most valued team. The Cowboys are worth $6.43 billion. Like I said, the Yankees are $6.75 billion.
So Yankees are the top.
Yeah.
They are the
you want to look at it another
most
way?
Valuable professional team
if
ever.
You want to look at it a different way, Legends is basically the most valuable company out there because they have about $12.5 billion worth of sports teams under their belt here.
Wow.
Other little news and notes here. Average franchise worth for Major League Baseball, according to Sportico, which does a valuation of both all the Major League sports teams, average franchise worth is $2.2 billion. That includes all the regional sports networks that the teams own and other real estate, stadium stuff that they have. Teams alone are worth about $2 billion. The 30 teams overall are valued collectively at 66.
30 what teams?
30 Major League Baseball teams.
Major League Baseball teams?
We're only talking Major League Baseball right now.
Okay.
Are valued collectively at $66 billion.
Wow.
So, a lot of money being spent there. Last number for the week, $12.8 billion. We're staying in the billions.
We're in the billions now. I have no idea.
Same type of deal. It's the worth of Fanatics.
Oh, wow, okay.
The merchandise company.
Sure. I own a lot of their stuff.
Well, the Fanatics is now one of the more valuable U.S. companies in apparel and sportswear with this recent valuation. It came with, they were refinancing. They got a new financing round of money coming in, and it was valued at $12.8 billion. Just as a point of reference, Dick's Sporting Goods is worth $6.7 billion. Under Armour is $10.2 billion. And Nike is $216 billion.
Wow. Oh.
So Fanatics has a way to go when dealing with Nike, but as far as the other major competitors, Dick's and Under Armour, they're right there with them, if not beating them. You're going to see a lot of Fanatic stuff getting even better with revenue because they had that deal with Amazon. What happened with Amazon, when Amazon did the deal with the NFL to carry Thursday Night Football, it kind of opened the door to doing some of these apparel deals because officially licensed NFL apparel was not anywhere to be found on the Amazon stores. But Amazon now has a deal with Fanatics and the NFL to offer officially licensed NFL products, which should make Fanatics worth even more in the coming years. So that's it for this week's By the Numbers segment. Again, we throw these numbers out, let the numbers tell the story. And coming up next, we will be doing our Turnpike Sports book report.
Stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Yeah, you, come here. Haven't you heard? We don't need to hide anymore. Now, we can shop privately for adult products at adamandeve.com. They've got massage oils, lingerie, and lots more we can't mention here. Use offer code SPICE404. They'll give you 50% off almost any one item, 3 free DVDs, free mystery gift, and free shipping. That's 50% off, free shipping, and more. Private shopping starts at adamandeve.com.
Attention seniors with Medicare. This is an important announcement. Did you know you may qualify for a monthly Social Security rebate? Did you know you may qualify for a $0 monthly premium? That's right. You may qualify to get $135 added back to your Social Security check each month. Just call the Medicare benefits line to get your options. It's a free call. You may also qualify for $0 premiums, dental coverage, vision coverage, hearing coverage, and prescription drug coverage. With this type of plan, you don't need Medicare supplement insurance. Call now because you deserve to get the most from your Medicare benefits, including a rebate to your Social Security check each month. Agents are standing by with free information regarding Medicare benefits. It's a free call with no obligation, but it could mean big savings for you. Call the Medicare benefits line now to see if you're eligible for a Social Security rebate.
Call 800-574-6770. 800-574-6770.
Now that we're home more than ever, we need to feel safe. Call it a sign of the times or the world we now live in. What do you want to keep safe? The people in your life? What do you want to protect? Your possessions, the things that belong to you, the things that you've worked hard for. Wouldn't it be nice to have tested, trusted 24/7 protection? Peace of mind, real protection that's always there for you and your whole family? Well, now you can with one of our state-of-the-art home security systems. Everyone thinks their home is safe until the unexpected happens. Help protect your home and loved ones today with the affordable next generation in home security. To help keep your family and property safe, call 1-800-520-4068 now. Representatives are standing by to assist you. That's 1-800-250-4068. 1-800-520-4068.
Sometimes life is wonderful.
and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. If your employer doesn't supply health care coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private health care is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. To get the coverage you need, call the number on the screen now. The Turnpike Sports Book Report.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casinos now, your favorite sports book available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE, that's P-I-K-E, and you get a risk-free bet up to $300 and 20 bonus dollars at BorgataCasino.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, welcome to another edition of the Turnpike Sports Book Report. We've got a bunch of stories to talk about. We've got our usual suspects of sports betting revenue and handle numbers to report. We've got a mobile milestone to talk about for one of the states.
A mobile milestone.
We have a bunch of launches and deals to discuss. We even have an update on the Tennessee Action 24/7 saga going on in the court system,
which, by the way, is
Tennessee
is changing daily. So news,
again, this may be old by the time this
news
airs.
is coming out daily on this situation. So
and it's kind of an interesting thing to watch, especially for the industry as a whole, because we're starting to see exactly how independent sports books can operate, maybe compete, in the industry against the biggies, and it's kind of setting new ground as it goes along each and every day.
Sure.
Let's start with some sports betting numbers. We have Nevada reporting their February numbers. They had a handle of $553.8 million, which is 14% down from January, and it's the lowest since the full sports schedule returned following COVID.
Well, there are less things to bet on. There's no more football. Yeah, so that kind of hurts.
I think the Super Bowl hurt it a lot too. A lot of states were hurt by the Super Bowl. I think a lot of people went with the Brady thing.
Yeah, well, especially New England, the New England sports books.
And we'll talk about New Hampshire in a little bit.
I don't want to.
No, it's okay.
Screw up the flow here, but but look, the Super Bowl was February 3rd, February 2nd, February 3rd,
and everybody put their bets in January.
And after that, certainly you have NBA, you have NHL, and certainly people bet on those and people make money on those, but it's not like football. Football is like the king when it comes to betting.
Well, if you think about the Super Bowl is a very unique event, especially in terms of betting, because a lot of the betting occurs the month before.
Yeah.
Because of all the prop bets, of a lot of other things.
Look, the numbers aren't out, but everyone's going to bounce back in March because of March Madness. So
you would hope. You would hope.
I would think. I would certainly, from all accounts and all news stories I'm seeing, that there should be a bump from the March Madness.
March Madness should have almost the same effect, if not a greater effect, than the Super Bowl did. Sure. But the Super Bowl is unique in that the effects of that game is not going to be felt in the same month the betting is done. If you think about it, most of the betting is done in January. The results happen and are reported for the February numbers, not the January numbers.
You have that 2 week before the Super Bowl that everyone throws their bets down on.
Yeah,
and that usually happens in January.
Exactly. And again, it affects every state's numbers in terms of revenue more so than handle. If it's like I said, it's a weird situation with that one sporting event. Mobile handle in Nevada for February was $316.3 million. That was about 57% of the overall amount, which I still find interesting that Nevada still does not have a dominant mobile industry for sports betting.
In New Jersey, it's 90% and over.
It's always 90%
It's always
over.
90%.
Same thing with
over.
Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania's getting up there. Tennessee's 100% mobile.
Well, New Jersey's an interesting state because we have our sports books in two extreme areas of the state. We have in the north, we have Monmouth and we have Meadowlands, and then way down in the south, we have Atlantic City, and a lot of people are in the middle. So I'm right in the middle, and I have an hour drive to Atlantic City or an hour drive to Meadowlands. So,
and I have to admit, for the people in Central Jersey, it's so much easier to use your phone than go over the Delaware to to one of the Philadelphia casinos?
Yeah, I'm closest to Parks. We got Live. We're very close to Philadelphia.
But
we live in New Jersey.
A lot of people don't want to get off their couches either.
No. And like I said, even when I'm at a sports book, I still bet on my phone.
Yeah.
Why get up off your chair and go stand in line?
Or at a kiosk.
Yeah.
And actually, I've seen lines at kiosks now, too.
Sure.
So, but again, it's a matter of convenience for the mobile stuff. And again, I don't know why. I guess maybe the population centers are where the casinos are anyway, so they go out and do it.
Yeah.
Especially in the wintertime, they're not affected by the cold and the snow and the sleet like the eastern states are. But again, mobile handle was 57% of the overall handle, and that's where the milestone comes in. According to Chris Altruda, which we have on the show this week, the state has cleared the $3 billion mark for mobile handle since the Gaming Control Board in Nevada has begun reporting that number, which has been January 2020. So from January of 2020 to the current month, they've cleared the $3 billion mark in mobile handle.
Wow, okay.
February taxes to the state was $2.15 million. Now, you hinted at it before, New Hampshire. They were affected big time by the Super Bowl.
Everyone bet on Brady in New England.
Yep.
So
they had an increase of Super Bowl betting by $5 million year over year between last year's and this year's. Lottery paid out $8.8 million on the Super Bowl for a net loss of $1.7 million for the state.
Mm-hmm.
The handle overall reported a just under $51 million total handle. Just under $43 million of that was from mobile. The revenue, they had a revenue of $1.79 million. Most of that came from mobile as well. $1.72 million was revenue from mobile sports betting. Taxes came in at $769,000. That's a 59% drop. 59% drop from January. So that is they had a record month last month anyway. Regarding the in January, I should say, not February, but January they had a record month because of the Super Bowl.
Yeah, absolutely.
Super Bowl gave, Super Bowl took.
Up in New England, they're still talking about Tom Brady. So he's in the news. He's on everyone's mind, and if you get a chance to bet on him in New England, I guess they're going to bet on him.
And it was interesting to see Tampa Bay re-sign the entire team.
Yeah, pretty much it.
The entire team is back together.
Pretty much
it. But I haven't seen the latest numbers, but I don't believe Tampa Bay is the favorite to win.
I don't know. I would think the Chiefs are Kansas City.
They still are, yeah.
I think probably still are. And I don't think that's going to change anyway.
No, especially if Mahomes gets to the Super Bowl healthy again. He had that foot problem, which kind of really hampered him. But again, it was a good game if you're a Brady fan. West Virginia reported their numbers, $38 million in total handle. That was a decrease of more than $12 million compared to January. Again, West Virginia reports their numbers differently than everybody else. They do it weekly instead of monthly, so you just got to pick and choose and take into effect what they have reported here. West Virginia sportsbooks earned just $1.3 million in revenue compared to $4 million the previous 4 weeks, I should say. Greenbrier was first in revenue with $1.2 million for the month. Hollywood came in second with $400,000 in revenue. DraftKings came in with $65,000 of Hollywood's $400,000 in revenue, which was kind of weird. That was only $65,000 in revenue. And Mountaineer had an interesting report. They brought in through $230,000 retail revenue and only a few thousand in online revenue. William Hill, their partner for the mobile, reported a negative $237,000 in revenue.
Wow. Okay.
So kind of an interesting month for William Hill down in West Virginia. Let's talk about a couple launches that happened around the country before we start talking about the Tennessee action stuff. New Jersey, Golden Nugget Online Gaming has basically relaunched their sports betting platform. They have a deal with Scientific Games. They are now the platform operator of choice with Golden Nugget, and they're going to be starting to do that around the country as well. They're Golden Nuggets in Michigan with Scientific Games. Most of the time you're going to see Golden Nugget paired with Scientific Games. They had a different partner before this, but they've relaunched everything. It's shared wallet, that sort of stuff. Indiana, Penn National received their sports betting license on March 3rd. That means Barstool Sports is going to launch pretty soon there as well. WynnBET received its go live notice on the same day, March 23rd. I found this kind of interesting in the reports. Bally's, the license acquisition of Fantasy Draft in that state was approved. And we're going to see Bally's operating a fantasy sports site.
That should be interesting.
In Indiana.
Yeah.
So
Bally's is buying everything. They're acquiring everything.
They're on a shopping spree.
Yeah, I guess so.
Interesting things in Indiana. We have a new local betting show launching in Indiana.
Great.
All Indiana Bets is going to be airing on WISH TV beginning in August. It's basically a betting show that they're going to talk about the Indiana teams only.
Oh, okay. All right. So it's not across the board.
It's not a national show. It's going to be Indiana focus. They're going to have live broadcasts. They're going to have online broadcasts, and they're going to do it as a podcast as well. So it's going to be multi-tier. VirginiaGambling.com group got its sports betting affiliate license for Virginia is Betters. Virginia is for betters. That old, what was their old slogan? Virginia is
for lovers. Yeah.
So they do Virginia is for betters. Internationally, we had BetConstruct. I'm saying this wrong. BetConstruct launched a virtual in-play tennis suite of games for
tennis. Huh?
Yeah, for their overseas bettors. They don't have it in the United States yet, but it's a whole in-play tennis suite of games where you're going to be able to use data from tennis matches going on to create virtual sports. And people can bet on that as it goes along. Let's go over into the deals section. Oh, by the way, for those of you wondering, Connecticut is inching closer and closer to sports betting. They've got both tribes on board.
Both Native American for Connecticut, there's only Native American casinos,
right?
So there's no state-run casinos. So there's different legislative things you have to do in Connecticut.
Well, they have to get the compacts all straightened out between the Native American tribes and the state. Then the state has to go forward with the enabling legislation and the structure on how to do it. So we'll see where that goes to. One interesting little note I saw in terms of legislation. Here, the U.S. Congress recently had their annual Members' Day hearing, and that's held each year for House members to just air whatever topics they want to do for their constituency base.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the topics brought out by the one of the Nevada House members. Let me get this right here. Representative Dina Titus, Democrat from Nevada, made a presentation to eliminate the 0.25% tax on sports betting handle in the United States. This has been part of the Revenue Act of 1951. And basically, the federal government gets 0.25% of the state's sports betting handle every year, every tax year. Just to give you an example of what is going on here, 3 states, New Jersey, Nevada, and Pennsylvania, owe the IRS a combined $34.6 million from this tax.
Okay. Wow, I didn't know that.
So she has been, every time this Members' Day happens, that's one of her presentations, to get rid of this excise tax from the federal law there.
Let's see what happens.
Going over onto the deal side of things, we have PointsBet and Penn National doing an agreement for 20-year access, market access for Mississippi and Pennsylvania. And now this is for sports betting and iGaming. So we may see a PointsBet casino coming soon.
Interesting. Good.
I
like PointsBet.
No, PointsBet's fun. It's also laid out well. I think I said this in the last episode. The color scheme is easy on my eyes anyway.
Well, just their layout and the number, you can follow the numbers easy for me.
Well, this deal would give PointsBet access to 14 states in the United States of America. Moving over to BetMGM, they have been granted access to IMG Arena's Golf Event Center, which will increase the I don't want to say the applicability, but the offerings that BetMGM can do for their golf products in terms of sports betting. You're going to be able to stream action from 2 different par 3 holes each tournament via the BetMGM app, too.
Great.
Moving over to Sport Radar, they have done a couple deals. They did a data and video analytics deal with Synergy Sports, which will increase their video and OTT offerings that sportsbooks can use through their apps as well. And they did a deal with the Chinese Basketball Association, where they are going to be able to distribute regular season, postseason games, and all-star games to broadcasters, streamers, OTT broadcasters, and sportsbooks for the Chinese Basketball Association League.
Great.
Now let's do our little quick update on the Tennessee Action situation down in Tennessee. And I am sure by the time this airs, this will be stale information. Something else will happen.
Yeah.
Because it's a fluid situation.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
Just to refresh everyone's memory, I'm pretty sure everyone has been following this. Tennessee Action 24/7's license was suspended by the Tennessee Education Lottery because of alleged credit card fraud, money laundering, data breaches, illegal proxy betting, all allegations. And the Tennessee Action 24/7 Sportsbook had its license suspended. The site was shut down, especially at March Madness, which was a horrible time for that to happen.
Yep.
They lost out on a chunk of change there. We'll see what happens, though. Tennessee Action 24/7 sued in court to get a temporary injunction to reinstate their license while the Tennessee Education Lottery investigates these claims of money laundering, fraud, proxy betting, that sort of stuff. The court sided with Tennessee Action 24/7 for the temporary injunction. The license is no longer suspended. They're actively taking bets. But the investigation by the lottery is still going on into these the allegations of fraud and credit card fraud, ID theft. And we'll see exactly where the investigation goes. There's still a chance to get suspended, but right now, for now, the Tennessee Action 24/7 guys are back in business.
All right, good news for Tennessee Action 24/7. And that'll do it for us this week. We'll see you next time on the Turnpike.